Renting versus buying gets argued by people who never actually ran the numbers. One side shows you a house value 20 years out and calls it proof. The other side talks about freedom and flexibility like those things actually come free. Neither one of them is being honest with you. So today I'm going to run the real math, the full math, the kind that includes every dollar in and every dollar out, and show you exactly when buying wins and when renting wins and why the answer really depends on you, not which side of the internet you happen to be standing on. Before we get into it, if you're new here, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, tap the notification bell. I put out real talk on real estate every week. No spin, no sales pitch, just numbers and the decisions behind them. I'm Bud Evans, 35 years in the Air Force, 13 years as a police officer, former mayor of Cinnaminson, New Jersey. I'm an active real estate investor in single family and small multifamily properties. I mentor veterans and first responders getting into real estate, and I founded a low-cost property management company in southern New Jersey for investors by investors. I don't sell hype. I just talk about what works. So let's set the scene here. Two guys, same starting point, call them Hill and Carter. Both are 32 years old. Both make $80,000 a year. Both have $70,000 saved. Both live in the same city. Mid-size. A solid 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood runs $350,000. Hill buys one. He puts the full $70,000 down, 20%, right? Which keeps him out of PMI, private mortgage insurance. He's got a 30-year fixed at 7%. Welcome to the new world. His monthly number breaks down like this. Principal, interest, $1,863. Property taxes, $350. Insurance, $150. Maintenance reserves, $290. Total monthly cost, $2,653. Now, Carter goes out and he rents a comparable place for $2,000 a month. He takes his $70,000, he puts it into a total stock market index fund, right? Call it SPY. Then every month he invests $653 difference between his rent and Hill's housing cost. On the surface, Carter's going to look like he found the cheat code, lower monthly cost, same kind of house, and his money is working in the market. But that's only the first year. Most people stop there. That's the mistake. Here's where the real problem starts. Buying doesn't start as a win. It starts in a hole, and most ownership pitches never mention that part. Hill doesn't just hand over $70,000 and walk away. He pays closing costs too. Typically about 5% of the purchase price, lender fees, title insurance, attorney fees, prepaid taxes, escrow funding. So while he puts $70,000 down, his actual day one outlay is closer to $82,000 to $88,000. That money's got to be earned back before ownership actually starts outperforming renting. Most people never really run that number. They just assume day one equals instant equity. It doesn't. Then there's the phrase that gets repeated consistently. Renting is throwing money away. It sounds true. It is not true once you actually check the math. In year one of a 30-year mortgage at 7%, almost all of Hill's payment goes to interest. Out of his $1,863 principal and interest payment, only about $230 reduces his loan balance in month one. The other $1,630 goes straight to interest and taxes and insurance and maintenance. And Hill's sending about $2,623 a month out. That builds him exactly $230 in ownership. Carter's rent is $2,000 flat. By the standard that money not building equity is wasted, Hill's wasting more than Carter is. That doesn't mean buying is bad. It just means that the slogan was never really built on math. It was built on emotion. Here's the consequence. People walk into home ownership thinking the win is automatic. It's not. If you buy and sell in 3 to 5 years, there's a real chance you would have come out ahead renting and investing the difference. I've watched investors and first-time buyers alike get burned by this exact assumption. They bought it, they got transferred or relocated or just changed their mind. They sold a couple of years later, and between closing costs going in and commissions going out, they handed away the equity that they thought they were building. And that's the turning point here. The problem is not buying or renting. The problem is buying without understanding exactly what your real time horizon is and what your real numbers are. Look, if you're a veteran and you're working through this exact decision, military moves, deployments, relocations, the calculus is even sharper for you, and you don't have to figure it out yourself. The War Room with David Pere is built specifically for veterans working through real estate decisions like this one. It's a community of people who have lived this life and this exact situation. They've made the moves and they've learned the lessons. And if you want one-on-one help, work in your specific numbers, you can always reach out to me, book a coaching call with me directly at budevans.com. I don't sell the program. It's not a sales pitch. Start with the War Room if you're a veteran. It's really the right first stop. Now, let's finish the math and build the system that you're going to actually use to make this decision. 3 years in, Hill's paid about $95,000 total dollars in housing costs. Only $8,300 of that paid down his loan. His balance still sits around $271,000 and about $700. If the house appreciated 3 or 4% a year, that's worth roughly $383,000 to $396,000. That puts his equity about $111,000 to $124,000. It's real money, but it's locked up. To touch it, he has to sell or he has to borrow against it using a HELOC or something like that, and selling is going to trigger a commission. Carter, in the same 3 years, paid $72,000 in rent. His original $70,000 grew to about $93,000 in the market. His monthly contributions added another $27,000. Total portfolio around $120,000. And every dollar of it is liquid. He can access it during market hours with no sale, no loan application, no commission. At year 3, Carter is slightly ahead, and his money is easier to reach. That's reality, that's not opinion. Let's talk about the costs that people leave out entirely, because this is where careless investors get hurt. Selling a house isn't free. Hill eventually sells for $500,000, 5 to 6% commission goes to him, $25,000 to $30,000, combined entry costs and exit costs, and a full buy-sell cycle can eat about 8 to 10% of the home's value. Appreciation has to outrun that before you've actually made money. Property taxes, they're going to climb as the home value increases. Maintenance is not a once-in-a-while expense, it's built into the cost of ownership. The 1% annual rule is a planning number, not a forecast. Some years you replace a few bulbs and call it done. Other years you're looking at a $9,000 roof or $7,500 HVAC system, $4,000 for foundation work or landscaping or whatever it might be. These are not edge cases. Over a 30-year hold, they're part of the package. Pretending they're not going to happen doesn't make it cheaper. It just delays your bill. And don't ignore opportunity cost. When Hill wires $70,000 to closing, that money stops compounding in the market. At 10% average annual return over 20 years, that same $70,000 could have grown to roughly $470,000. That is not money lost in the traditional sense. It's a trade-off that he accepted to own the home. If you're not counting that, you're not running an honest comparison. So here's your actual operational approach, broken into steps that you can use to run your own numbers. Step 1, calculate your full day one cost of buying, not just the down payment. Add closing costs, prepaids, escrow. That's your real entry number. Step 2, calculate your true monthly ownership cost, not just principal and interest. Include your taxes, insurance, and a maintenance reserve. Minimum 1% home value annually. Step 3, compare that true monthly cost against actual rent for a comparable property in your market, not a guess. Step 4, look at your local price to rent ratio. Divide your home price by an annual rent. Under 20 generally favors buying. Over 25 generally favors renting and investing the difference. Step 5, be honest about your time horizon. If you're not staying at least 5 to 7 years and you're not house hacking the deal, the math usually favors a rental because closing costs and interest need time to be recovered. Step 6, if renting wins on paper, build automatic investment contributions for the monthly difference, not a plan to invest someday. It's got to start now. It's got to be an automated transfer the day your paycheck hits. Step 7, revisit the comparison every 2 to 3 years because your local market, your interest rate environment, and your personal situation will change. The biggest mistake I see here is people picking a side first and then trying to bend the numbers to get it to match. The second biggest mistake here is renters who say they'll invest the difference and then they spend it on lifestyle upgrades instead, a new truck or new car, whatever it might be. The math only works here if you actually behave like the math assumes. Buying forces discipline through mortgage payment. Renting requires you enforce the discipline yourself every single month, including when the market turns down, when it feels wrong to keep investing. As always, here's your checklist before you make this call. Number 1, calculate your true day one cost of buying, including closing costs, not just the down payment. Calculate your true monthly cost of ownership, including taxes, insurance, and putting aside for maintenance. Pull the rent for a comparable property to what you're looking to buy in your market and compare it directly. Then calculate your local price to rent ratio and know exactly where your market sits. Be honest about how long you're actually going to stay in the home. If renting wins on paper, immediately set up automatic monthly investment for the full difference in what it would have cost you to buy. Revisit this analysis every 2 to 3 years as your situation and your market change. Do not let a slogan make this decision for you. Run your own numbers. And don't fudge just to make it fit. Hey, if this helped you, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Thanks for watching. I'm Bud Evans. Aim high, execute fast. See you on the next one.